so let's do this. Okay, here we go. I think what I did before is I forgot to go live. So I've been talking for like the last hour. I have gone through the entire app that I'm working on, and I don't think anyone got to see it. I'm hoping that YouTube recorded it in the background because this is terrible. I'm already really thirsty after everything. Okay, anyway, let's get into this, right? So, I'm not going to go over it all again, just in case that YouTube has recorded it and it's going to be, you can rewatch it back later or something. So, I don't know. We'll see. All right. No, let's go over it. Let's go back over it. So let's go through it real quick. Okay, so, that's so disappointing. So this app that I'm building at the moment already exists. I have another version of it available, which is called Game Master Scenes. This version is called Summoning Stone, and it's essentially an app that lets you, or game masters or dungeon masters, tabletop RPG players, to stream music, create music playlists, and also has integrated Soundboard, right? So it's got this soundboard in there for you to play sound effects, and all the sound effects are bundled into the app. Now, if you have any questions about this app, feel free to leave, write a comment, or if you're watching this stream after it has ended, leave a comment and I will get back to you. If you have any questions about iOS development in general or career advice, I'm happy to answer those too during the stream. That's fine. Interaction is great. This is exactly what I'm after. So it'd be very good if we can get some of that two-way conversation going. I noticed that a lot of the times when watching other people do these kinds of streams, they get distracted from their work and they just end up having a conversation and then get nothing done. So I'm going to try and avoid that. I want this to be kind of educational. And the big reason for why I am doing this now, instead of creating edited content, is because I've got some comments from people saying that my edited content is too quick. It goes too fast. And originally when I was creating it, I thought, oh no, the tutorial videos on YouTube are too slow. I just want to get to the information immediately. And then so that's what I had in mind when I was editing my own videos. I was like, people are going to look up this. They're going to type into Google how to do something. They're going to want to watch it. And they want that information in their brain as quickly as possible. And that was my goal. And I figured if it was too fast, just pause the video. Anyway, still kept getting comments about it. So now I'm doing a complete stream. This is going to be more long form. It's going to be probably slow, maybe more boring, not as entertaining. I don't know. We'll see. So let's go through this app for the second time and spend an entire another hour talking about it. So let's go. So what I've got here is so the first thing, let's go through the structure, right? So we've got my resources, and I keep other stuff in here too, not just the assets for the app itself. Eventually we will have more images, more music, more sound. I think sometimes I put plist files in the resources folder. It could be anything that is not code, really. Anything that's not code that the app will consume at some point during its life cycle. In the assets, there's not a whole lot, right? So I've got a couple of colors. I've got this placeholder file. This is the old icon, and this is the new icon. Now you can see like the green edges on it. These will be cut off by the rounded corners on iOS. In here, we've got the sound effects icons. These have all been created using AI. So I've got, I think some of them are Stable Diffusion, and another one is the OpenAI equivalent. Yeah, so we can go through and have a look at all these. They're small. I can't make those really larger, but I will make the code larger. So let's just go through these quick. You can see them all. And the idea is I'm going to try not to double up on these. I want to create unique artwork for every single sound effect and button. That's my goal. And I don't think I could ever do that by paying a designer. It would take far too long to do like 1,000 of these. And finding them like on a website to search for them would take way too long as well, right? So the goal is to get AI to do it. Maybe in the future I could put a bunch of keywords and stuff in the JSON file, which I'm about to show you, and then have an app generate the icons every single time. That'd be kind of cool. That might be something that comes up in the future, right? Just generate art within an app once the devices get powerful enough to do that quickly. But this is everything in here. These are all the ones I've got so far. I do have some test images, so these are copyrighted works, obviously. This is so that I can get previews working as I develop. And then in here, I've got this sound effects file, right? So throughout this entire file, we've got all the names, like the file names of the sound effects. I know it's called lightning. That is what, I think that's what it's called as a spell, like chain lightning and stuff, because that is what you see, right? The sound is thunder. Everyone knows this, but the spell is lightning. There is spells called like thunder wave and stuff, and I will add sound effects for those because it's more like, it feels like more like a rumbly sound. This one is more of an instant crack sound. And then I've added keywords. So because the app has search, the keywords are super important because not everyone's just going to go lightning, right? And if you do type in lightning, you're only going to get this one with this one sound effect. So what you want to do is be able to type in electricity, thunder, power, right? Energy, elemental. You want all the sound effects that are associated with those sort of keywords to show up. Once this list gets massive though, it might start taking a performance hit to search through all these. So I'll have to do something where I do like a reverse thing, right? So I might have to put the keywords in a list and search by keyword and then associate the sound effect with the keyword rather than associating the keywords with the sound effects. That makes sense. Because like each of these could have up to 10. By the time I'm finished, it will have like up to 10 keywords each. And that's just going to be, that will slow things down, especially for like 1,000 sound effects times 10 keywords. There's 10,000 things it needs to search through on every single key press that I do. That's going to slow things down. So there's also ambience. That's coming soon. That's not something I have even started working on, but I think it's going to be important because that's different to music and different to sound effects. Music will come from Apple Music. I'm sure there is ambient soundtracks on Apple Music, but I want to give the option of like, tavern talk, fireplaces in the background, forest sounds, a beach, just wind. I want those to be separate. So we've got 3 different ways to produce sound in the app. The effects section, this is for an external screen. So you know how you pull down on iOS and you've got your control panel. So the idea is that when you tap like AirPlay, you can actually see, you can reproduce your screen onto an external monitor by doing it that way, like on your TV and stuff. Throughout in this app, we can hijack that process and we can display something else that isn't what you're seeing on your device. And so what I'm doing is there's a section on the app where you can upload your own artwork, and then you can overlay these effects, right? So we've got rain, smoke, fog, snow. I've got little snowflakes here, and that's all we got so far, right? And here's the smoke one. And you see how they sort of start off slow. You kind of don't want that. I think I still need to get through to the portion of the code where it'll just like preload the scene. And then when you select it and it gets put on the TV, it's already like fully smoky. It's completely fogged. See how it has to fade, takes time to fade in. You don't want that. You want it to be like instant, right? That's why in some games you might notice like if you turn the camera and look at something, like the waterfall starts flowing, you turn around, you come back, the waterfall's missing, and then it starts flowing again. You want it so that it's like it's sort of like pre-rendered or something in the background, right? So that's kind of that's kind of the goal for that. That's not in there yet. I swear there used to be a checkbox here that let you just like turn that on. Maybe there is. Maybe there's. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so these play on the external screen. It's an optional extra. You don't have to have it. I think most people who have an external screen who are running TTRPGs will probably show a map or something else on there. But this is just there to add a little bit of extra ambience, and especially for dungeon masters who just want to keep the game in the imagination, right, and just throw up some artwork to give it a different feel. In the model, this app uses core data, and the reason why I do that is because it syncs very well with iCloud. You don't have to do anything, right? So the syncing with iCloud is like a single line of code. I'll show you that in a second, right? So at the top of all your views, you just got like a property wrapper that you can run queries on. That's like, that will pull stuff out of your core data database, and everything syncs immediately. Like, you can write a change to one of these items. Like if we're creating playlists and you remove a song or add a song, it'll update within seconds on another device that you've got open. It's really, really cool the way that works. And so it's taking a lot of trouble out of implementing that side of it. I don't think the app does even a single network call that I've had to write. Yeah, so in here I got RevenuCat. I'm using telemetry client and Bugsnag because like they're paid services. I don't want to use something like Firebase that, like, I don't know what they do with the data. These ones seem to be okay with their privacy policies, so that's what I'm going with at the moment. And all the implementation of that is hidden behind the scenes, right? I don't think I've have to make a single network call in this app at all, which is... No, I do. I do it for the images, for the album artwork images. But I think even that's hidden behind Apple's async image. So yeah, like... Anyway, the whole point of this, and the reason why I'm using core data is because it's made that whole process so much easier for me, especially the syncing. Let's go through the core data model really quick. So I got one set up for the ambient loop, and this will just loop in the background, which is going to be different to the Apple Music, which is not going to loop, and sound effects do not loop. So that's why I've called it that. Artwork, this is for the album artwork. This is so I can store it across devices so that it can, so we can load those in immediately when content updates across any of your devices. The campaign. So a campaign is like a collection of encounters, which are also named scenes in here. I need to change the name of that. You can see these things here. So a campaign is a collection of scenes, or collection of encounters. You can have multiple campaigns, and a campaign is essentially like a game, right? It's not a game session, it's a game, and that could run over many months. And some dungeon masters, well, that's all they do, right? They never get to be a player. They'll have this app on their iPad, and they'll have multiple campaigns set up, ready to go, and then they can switch between them. An encounter is what holds couple of points of information, right? So this has an image, which is binary data, which is stored, which gets converted to data and then uploaded to iCloud in this entity. It has a name, has a thumbnail of that large image, because obviously we don't want to load that in every time. The larger image is only used on the external screen, from what I remember. And the visual effect, of course, is that enum for the the particle effects and stuff that we had before. So each encounter also has a list of music, and these artist name IDs and name, that comes from Apple Music's the music SDK, right? MusicKit, which is such a pain to work with because you have to do multiple requests to get all the information that you need out of it in order to like have a good UI. So Tesla has come out with Apple Music in a recent update, and I've been playing around with that, and I can see where they've ran into the issues that I've run into as well. Like the MusicKit API was designed for Apple to use, right? And so it's set up for the way that they do the UI. It's very what's that word? It's kind of like opinionated, right? Generally, you kind of want your model database stuff to just be there. You want it to be dumb. You want it to not have. You don't want it to be split across many different servers and stuff either, right? You want it when you do a fetch, you want to be everything you need to do the task that you've set out to do. With MusicKit, it doesn't appear to be that way. You can get, I think you can get album artwork and the name of a song and its ID, but in order to fetch more information on how to play the track, I think you need to do another request. And then playlists are treated differently to other collections of music, and they've got different, like the data structure that comes back is different again. It's not, yeah, anyway, I won't dwell on it too much. It's a pain to work with. And the reason why I'm doing Apple Music is because Spotify's SDK does not allow you to play music through your app. You have to play it through the Spotify app. So if you use the Spotify SDK, it will talk to the Spotify app that's installed on the device. And a big reason why I wanted to use Spotify as well as Apple Music was so that we could get free music in the app, and so that you can just like jump in and start using it, because otherwise you need an Apple Music subscription, and that might be a bit of a blocker for a lot of people. And so having Spotify would have been great. Even with ads, it would have been fine, just so that they can get a feel for how the app would behave. And I think the main reason why the SDK acts as a remote control for their app is because of the ads. If it didn't do that and we played music directly in, like you could just look up a song ID and start playing it, you might skip ads, right? The SDK wouldn't be able to go, okay, well, it's been like 10 songs, now it's time to send you an ad. I think devs would be able to block those ads coming through, and then just, their users would just have free music, which is a shame. I think if you were a bigger developer, you could probably, like Tesla has Spotify in there, and I don't think they play ads. No, I never heard an ad on Spotify, and I wasn't even logged in. You can log in as the car, and there's no ads as long as you're paying the $10 a month fee or whatever it is. So, I'm guessing Tesla have a special deal with Spotify in order to make that work. Anyway, Spotify was out of the question. Had to be Apple Music, and that's also the reason why the app needs to be subscription. Because if it was a one-off payment and then it turns out that they needed to subscribe to Apple Music to use the app, kind of sucks, because you can't put a flag on the App Store and say, hey, before you download this, make sure you have Apple Music, because people don't read that stuff, and then you start getting refunds and things like that. So that's why a big reason why I've gone with a subscription model for this, and it also lets people try out the app first for a bit, see if it's something that they like. And then we got sound effects as well. Now, when I first worked on this app, I did store the sound effect data in iCloud, and I've changed this because let me talk about the reason why I did that to begin with. It was because I wanted to work across versions, right? So like if in a future version I introduce 100 new sound effects and someone's got that installed on one device, but they don't have it installed on their iPhone, on a different device, I wanted to set it up so that if you add a sound effect on one, it will be available on the older version. And now I had a lot of trouble with making this work correctly with iCloud, converting it to the binary data object and back again. And then there was other issues with, like, if you do that and then you're subscribed and then your subscription runs out, what happens then? Does the sound effects disappear? What happens on there? It got really confusing for me, so I figured let's just go with whatever's bundled in the app at the time of launch, at the time that they download the update, and then what will happen is they just won't see it. Like if they have a newer version of the app and they add a whole bunch of sound effects to their favorited list, and then they go back to an older version, they just won't show up. But they'll still be stored there in iCloud, ready to go when they finally do update. This also means, because I'm storing all these sound effects in the app itself, it comes bundled, the app may get quite large eventually. I'm going to do my best to try and keep it under, I want to keep it under 200. I want to keep it under 100. I would love to keep it under 50 megabytes, but I don't know if that's too realistic. I think eventually, if it gets much larger, I'll have to offload it to another database somewhere, and I think it may end up being. I may go back to doing some sort of iCloud storage with that, because I know I'm pretty sure you can upload uh, data that can be shared across all your users' apps to iCloud, like a public bucket of some sort. I haven't looked too much into that, but I think that's a possibility. Like I said before, I'm trying to avoid other services like Firebase. What I really want to do is trying to like keep this privacy focused and a full-fledged app too. The other thing is, can people upload their own sound effects? Not yet. I already have them being allowed to upload artwork, which is a pretty straightforward process. But when it comes to things like sound effects, how does that get synced across devices? Images work well because they're small enough. If we've got sound information, like, do I put a limit on the length of it? Can they edit the length of the clip on the app? It kind of gets a bit messy. In order to get them into the app, they have to be in the Files app. So you have to put them in the Files app from another device, like, or download it from a web browser. So sound effects are all baked in. It's going to launch with, I'm going to try and aim for 200 or so, and then say in a couple of weeks I'll get feedback through that. People are like, hey, you're missing this sound, you're missing that sound. I'll go do that. I'll go buy them. I'll add them to the app, and then it's a fully enclosed process, and the user doesn't have to think about it, right? It's just it's there for them to consume. They don't have to worry about using the Files app to import things and then trim up their sound effects properly and make sure they actually sound good, because like the average person doesn't even know how to. You want to ramp the edges of it, right? You want it to fade in and out correctly. You don't want it to be noisy. You want high quality, and that's what I'm going for here. You can think of this app like it's sort of like going to be a competitor to Sirenscape, right? So that's another app that's out there now. I think their iOS version is just terrible, honestly. Like, I think they built it in Unity, and it's if you've ever used an app that's built in Unity that's just UI and not a game, it's awful. Like, they're slow, clunky. It's a crap technology to use to build apps with. But their web version's pretty decent. But their sound effects they're not cohesive. They don't sound like they're all in the same universe or produced by the same people. They're kind of just like, oh, this sounds cool, let's throw it in the bag, and then it's up to the user to go through and find the ones that they think will fit with their campaign. What I'm trying to do with this is really curate a good set of high quality sound effects that they can use on their soundboard in this app. So I do have some custom stuff I've done to these core data classes. Some of them. So that involves like converting the image, the binary data to image, to actual image that I can use within the app and stuff like that. It's not too crazy. Oh, that folder's empty. We got the Apple Music API stuff here. Sound effects. So this is the model that handles the sound effects. This is all completed as far as I remember. Like, this is done. Most of my work left now is on the UI. Extensions. We'll go through these two. We've got user defaults keys that I'll just throw in here. We've got the display name for the bundle. So this is, I think I use this for analytics. Image resizes. So when someone uploads a large piece of artwork, I don't want to display that, like shrink it down and have that sitting in memory. We want to create a thumbnail for it. And that goes for like also the album artwork and stuff. Color hex. Yeah, Apple still doesn't have this baked in, I don't think. It'd be great if it was part of like Foundation or something where you can just get a hex value in there, because this is all we use. It's all a designer's going to send you in your entire career. They're not going to give you like RGB values. This, which is basically exactly what this is, right? They're not going to give you that. They're going to give you a hex value. So that this should be baked in. So I'm pretty sure the majority of apps on the App Store have this code in them. Probably all of them. We've got, yeah, so this is just so I don't have to keep putting this replacing occurrences of thing throughout all my code. So this is for grabbing a play ID. Apple Music again. And then we've got, yeah, creating an image from the data. And then we've got this custom color. I've only got one custom color in there. And that's that gold color. I'll probably add more. And again, this returns a color item, which can be drawn directly to this. Like, this is kind of like a view, right? So color is a view, essentially. I do the same thing with, I think I've got, yeah, so to image. So this takes a CK asset, which is a CloudKit asset, which is just like a clump of data, and converts it into an image. And this image, again, is not UI image or NS image. If I decide to make a Mac version of this, it is the image type that can be used directly within SwiftUI. And the cool thing about this is I don't need to change this call site if I do update this code to work with Mac OS, because down here we've got like UI, we've got UI image there, and then we've got UI image here. What we could do is wrap this in an if else, if iOS, if Mac OS, and we can have the exact same return, and the call site will just pick the correct one. I don't need to go back to the call site and change anything. I can change the code directly here, which is kind of cool. Right. So what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, it's been a few months since I've actually touched this code. So going through it now is actually really good to jog my memory, and I'm explaining it. So here we've got the subscription screen is what I've been working on mostly, because I need to get this done so that I can actually use the sound effects in the app, because I've put them behind the paywall. But as you can see up here, I've left myself a comment, which is like, hook up the continue button. So I need to make it work. So when you tap continue, the subscription process kicks off. Even during testing, right? Nothing's happening at the moment, so you can't actually use those parts of the app. I do have a plan to, so there'll be a free trial for a short while, and then I think I'm also allowing access to, like, you can create one campaign, you can create one encounter, and you can use like 10 sound effects or something. For the free version of the app. I don't want to force everyone into using a subscription. I kind of hate apps that do that. And I want people to also be able to get really far with the free version too. I don't want it to be like, oh, now there's a roadblock because I've been playing the campaign for 6 months. I'm really locked in. I'm going to have to spend. I don't want to do that. I want it to be quite useful for the lifetime. Like, I want there to be free users who can be happy with just the free version of the app and just use it. So you can see the title text here. I've got random elements. So this kind of replaces get pro now or whatever text you would have on a subscription screen. So, subscribe, unlock everything or something. I've got this text which will just randomly show something different every time you open up the subscription screen. I thought that would be kind of fun. I don't have a preview for this, so we'll have to run the app so I can show you what it looks like. We've got, error handling, things like that. There is extra code in here that shouldn't be, because I'm still working on it. This, like, subscription title, this should be split out into another file, which I will do. And I've got some enums and stuff in here too. Next up, we've got our scenes, which are encounters. And this has the music playlists. We've got the campaign. So these are the views. So there's a campaign tile, which will have like artwork and the name of the campaign. We've got all the Apple Music stuff, which is the UI I've created to search Apple Music and then add music from, like, you can even search playlists, I think, and you can add the entire playlist. I'm pretty sure I've added that in there, which is super useful because a lot of people will already have playlists on Apple Music and they're already using that system. I know a lot of people use Spotify and they'll have their game session music playlist, which will be like Skyrim music or something, or, movie soundtracks. They're all in this one playlist and they just put that on when they start playing it start dungeon mastering their games. And I want to make it the transition to this app as easy as possible. I want people to be able to just go, oh, I'll add that playlist, the game music playlist, and it'll just import it all directly into this app for them. I've also added a little randomizer button so that you can with a couple of search terms that I know work really well, and so you hit that, and then it'll give you like a result of game music and stuff that would fit with a bunch of different types of campaigns and stuff. It just makes that process slightly easier for the user. And then what do we got here? We've got the play status bar. So when the music's playing, there'll be a bar where you can see the progress, pause, stop. We'll have some album artwork there too. Import options, action sheet. So this is modifier. Modifiers to me are kind of like extensions, right? Like that sort of makes sense to think of them that way. They're just like an extension on Vue. I mean, there is one here. You don't have to do it this way. You can just dot modifier or whatever it is, Vue modifier, and then call this directly. But most people will create it as an extension on Vue as well. So this makes it easier. This kind of all the reason why I'm doing this is to hide this code away from the call site, right? Like I don't want it feels clunky, the action sheets and stuff that we have to work with still in SwiftUI, and I'm trying to avoid dealing with that as much as possible, so I hide it away. And then this just pops open a picker, so you can go files or photos, which is like the user's photo library, to choose some artwork. It's pretty cool. Sound effects picker view, I'll show you that in a second, how that looks. There's not much, I mean, I think, oh, here we go. So I have a preview for this, so let's just zoom out. This is kind of the best I can do with this screen. I can't readjust the window because I'm doing a screen recording thing on the Mac. I can't do window because if I did window, what you're seeing will expand and contract based on the shape of the window. But I can't do that because if I did, you won't get these popovers or anything. So it's frustrating. Anyway, these actually work in previews. I don't have audio hooked up because there's an issue with that on Macs. You can't get your desktop audio to route through to OBS, the screen sharing software I'm using now to stream this, because there's a limitation there and you need extra software to make it work. I won't go into that. So what we can do is, if I'm really quiet, you can hear it come through my Mac, right? So here's some of the sound effects. Now I've got it set up at the moment when you've tapped multiple times, it'll stop it because this is during testing. I think during the production release, if you tap it multiple times, it'll just play over itself many, many times. It'll just, So there's a wood hit. You can't see the text on here. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. Metal hit. Draw a bow, arrow. So these are just a couple. There's going to be many more than this, but this is so I can get a feel of like where I'm going with it. This looks weird. These should all be the exact same size. I don't know why they're all messed up there. We'll see if that translates to the actual version of the app. This could just be a preview problem. And I've got them categorized, right? So we've got actions, we've got creature sounds. This scroll bar, I'm clicking on it, it's not doing it. Can I? Oh, here we go, kind of. So we got environment sounds, like a button, right? And we got some sort of orchestral hits and stuff, which I think are kind of cool. So, right? I don't know if I like the long success one. That one's kind of a bit too long and annoying. It's a dramatic hit, right? We've got like ice shatter sounds, lightning, which is actually thunder, right? I like this one. So I've been trying to find a good sound for like misty stepping and stuff too. Whenever you see it in movies, like people vanishing, it's kind of like it's the sound of the air rushing in to fill the void where they once were, and I I've been putting in search terms to try and find the good sound for that, and I still haven't come up with anything yet. I think the best one I've got. Can I scroll over? I'm gonna have to zoom out. You won't be able to see it. Oh, I don't think it's here. No. I think from. Oh, here we go. So you hear that? You can kind of hear that. Let me. Right, so that's sort of my Misty Steps sound. It's kind of the best one I could come up with, but it almost sounds like a sheet or something. It doesn't matter. Let's get rid of... Actually, let's just go to a different screen. Okay. I think that's kind of it. Like, this is the code for the external view. So this runs the... we've got a geometry reader. We've got a Z-stack here. And the reason why we have a Z-stack is because we've got the big artwork image, and then we have the emitter view on top, which plays the particles. Now, there's something really weird about the particle emitters, because on the iPad, iOS, the scale changes, right? So like, I've got a 4K TV, and when I run this external view, the artwork stretches correctly, but the particles don't. So I found that when I ran this, the particles were only onto a corner portion of the screen. They didn't stretch to fill the whole thing. And then when I eventually got around to like making that work, they were, I think, too big. Like the scaling is off, and then when you run it on like a 1080p TV, it's different again. And I'm trying, like, I think I need to write some code to change these values, right? Like everything on this panel here probably needs to be set depending on the screen that they're being viewed on, which is kind of annoying. But that's something for future me to worry about. But I think that's kind of it. Like, there isn't really much else to go through. Like I said before, I've got Bugsnag, RevenuCat, telemetry client. So Bugsnag is for the detect crashes, and I'll get crash reports on that. RevenuCat is like a wrapper around StoreKit. If you're doing anything with in-app purchases in your app, use RevenuCat. Don't bother with StoreKit. Even StoreKit version 2 sucks. Like, Apple's implementation is bad. It's better than it was, but RevenuCat is the way to go because... Oh, what's up, boy? It takes a lot of the difficulty out of dealing with in-app purchases. And the other thing is too, it's kind of like acts as a bit of a backend, so you can turn on and off purchases through RevenuCat. I mean, you can do that on Apple's backend as well, but this gives you a little bit more control in the sense that you can do it based on certain triggers within your app too, right? And you can much better control who sees what for your subscription. So with Apple's implementation, all you get back is like the list of available products, right, that you've set up on Apple's backend in App Store Connect. You set these things up, you get the list back in the app, and that's it. But when it's funneled through RevenuCat, you can show certain subscriptions based on information you know about the user. So this could be, I'm not tracking anything now, right? But if I was to capture someone's email, I could say, okay, everyone with this email extension gets no subscription. They get it for free, right? Or maybe a user ID, I can put that on a separate screen. And when someone contacts me for support and they're like, oh, this thing's not working, I'll say, oh, crap. All right, I'll fix that for you. For bringing that to my attention, here's 2 free months of, pro version of the app just for doing that. Like, you can't do that through Apple's system, but you can do it through RevenuCat. The alternative to this, if you still want to have all that much customization, is you just build your own backend for it, and that's tough. And the other thing is too, RevenuCat also does certificate pinning. So this means that anyone who's got a jailbroken phone and who, the crack apps that you can get, which are like unlocks stuff in, you can get free purchases. It just fakes an app store. That is impossible. So it's doing the certificate pinning yourself requires you have your own server and stuff. RevenuCat can do that for you. Like, and it's like free, right? This sounds like an ad for it, but I love it so much. It's free to use until you get to a certain size. And by the time you get to that point, it's like you just pay it. And I think even then it's like $30 a month when you reach the set size where you're actually making significant money, where you would have to end up paying them anyway. So yeah, it works out really well. Telemetry client I haven't used before, but I'm using it because I don't want to use Google Analytics or Firebase. And that's all that is. That's just going to track users, people using the app. And the main reason why I want to have this in here is because I want to know what people are searching for in regards to music and the sound effects. So I want to make sure that if someone's typing, like if ever heaps of people are typing a particular term that I haven't thought of for a sound effect, I want to be able to see that and then add that sound effect in a future version of the app. That's the goal. I'm not tracking where they are in the world or anything like that. Apple can do that for me, like, and it does it much better than this sort of thing, right? Like Apple probably gets the information not just from IP, but also like the purchase location of the device and things like that, right? I'll just use Apple's analytics to get location information, demographics, and things. Telemetry client, I'm just using telemetry for just so I can get usage stats on the app. Yeah, which parts need work, where I need to focus more of my time and efforts in future updates. Because I'm just one developer, right, working on this. I need to compartment my time intelligently. So after all that, where are we at? We've got, okay, so I got through that quicker than I did the first time when I accidentally wasn't streaming. So we're in 40 minutes in, not an hour. I kind of need a drink now. We've got some tea. Oh yeah. It's a bit too sugary though. It doesn't really quench my thirst. Yeah, so if you have any questions about this app, other apps, iOS development in general, anything about my career or me, that's fine. You can add them to the chat. I'll try and answer. And if you're watching this stream after it's ended, add it to the comments and I will reply. I think I generally reply to every single comment. So yeah, a little bit more about me. So I live in Melbourne. I've been developing apps since I think 2011. Yeah, 2011. I used to be a music teacher before that. And I won an iPad in a competition. I wanted to use it during my lessons. There wasn't that many music apps available at the time. And then I was like, oh, I'll try and make one. And I made one in Flash. Remember Flash? So I made one in Flash and I had this export option where you could go to like Android or iOS. And man, the package was huge because it had to have like so much supporting code in there to make it work. I had no idea what I was doing. All I knew was a little bit of ActionScript. I didn't know what a for loop was. And I built my first app, made some money out of it, enough to buy a Mac. I had to originally upload it on a friend's computer because I only had a Windows machine. And that's what happened. Like I got to the point where I was making more money than I would have being a musician or a music teacher. And then I started getting like salary jobs as a developer. And they kind of just grew from there, right? So like I've jumped around different startups in Melbourne. I've worked for bigger companies. So I've worked for Target. I've worked for IBM. After the salary positions, I went into contracting. There's more money available in that. And I liked the idea of jumping from project to project, not staying in one company for years and stuff. And it was also the only way you can really get a salary bump, right? So like every single job change I had, I got a pay increase, like 10, 20K every single time I switched jobs. And that was like once every year, every 2 years. That's just the way it works in software, I think, for most people. And now I freelance. So I jumped out of that and it cut out the middleman, right? So doing contracting, you kind of work through like an agency or a recruiter of some sort. At least where I am, that's how it works. And then they take like 10% or something. So now I get to keep the 10%. And then I've just been freelancing ever since. My goal for 2023, which was my goal for last year, was to create a couple of apps that I can work on full time by myself. Probably have my wife helping out with a couple of those. But the idea is so that I can stop freelancing and do this full time. And I would love to be able to stream, like make streaming part of that, even if it's a small part. But anyway, that's everything. So let's do some work. We'll go through. Let's run the app. Okay, you haven't even seen it yet, so I think it's probably important that we actually run the app. So let's get this going. So what have I got? I've got the 12. What is this? The iPad 10th. I'll switch screens in a second so you can see it. I think this is the one I need to run it on. Let's get that built. Which will just take a little bit. You'll see the stream stutter because, yeah, I've got a M1 Mac Pro, 14-inch M1 Mac Pro, and it's kind of like still gets a little bit jittery when it's like trying to upload and do the video thing and then build an app at the same time. Okay, so what have we got? Let's wake up this Stream Deck and I can switch over to the simulator. It looks okay. That kind of works. And then so this is the first screen you see. It kind of sucks because it's just blank white, and up in the top right you can kind of see, oh, you can't see where my cursor is. That's unfortunate. I'll fix that next time. But I'm clicking on the plus button in the top right. I think ideally what we'll have is a maybe some artwork in this main screen. And maybe instructions on what to do next, or a big button that's like create new campaign. And also, once you've created a new campaign, you want to be able to launch into it immediately, right? So much like a document-based app, you create a new document, it goes straight into it. That's not happening in the moment, and that's something I need to do. So you tap on it, and this is what you see, right? This opens up. Last time I was working on this, I had these two screens flipped. So we've got a split view here. I had them the other way around. Now I've put the sound effects on the right side, and I've put the campaign and the scenes on the left, right? Now each scene is a collection of music. And so the cover art is just something that you can display on the, let's go photos. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is a bug. It pops up twice for some reason. 3 times. That's super annoying. Need to work out what the deal is with that. See that? Now it works. So this is so if we dismiss this, we've got, that's the image, so you can recognize what campaign it is. I think most people will only really have one. So I've set it up so that when you relaunch the app, it'll just go straight into that campaign. If you want to go back, like you want to take a step out of the process, right? Go to the one that you were last in. And that's it. In here, you can open up this. You can type in, let's say, like if anyone here plays D&D, you'll know Curse of Strahd. So that's maybe your campaign for that. And this is going to have different music and sound effects and stuff than what a Spelljammer campaign would have in it, right? Once that's typed in, it also updates here on the on the main campaign screen. And then we can take a look at like adding scenes and stuff. I'm going to put some more information in the top section. I really wish you could see my cursor around pointing around. In the top section next to, like under the Curse of Strahd text, there's probably going to be some more information about the campaign. Like maybe I can put some stats in there, like how long this screen has been open for, so that people can be like, oh, you've played, 2,000 hours so far of, or however many days you've been in this world. That'd be pretty cool to kind of keep track of that stuff. I've got to write that down. Keep track of hours played. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Okay. So in here you can add a scene. It doesn't do anything yet because there's nothing in there. New scene. You want to go edit. And then this gives you the option to provide artwork, which will be displayed on an external screen with screen mirroring, if that's what you choose to do. It's also kind of cool because if you add say some art, yeah, go away. It populates it over here too. Well, you can't see it, but you can see in the scene list, we've got artwork behind the play button is now set. So it makes it easier for you to recognize what it is. And so let's say, because this is Curse of Strahd, there is, let's say, welcome to Barovia, right? And that will be the name of the first scene. So when the characters first end up in the land of Barovia, whatever you want to call it, they're in a pretty dark forest. It's very foggy, and you might have a soundscape based around that. Later on, you might want to have, because there is a tavern, right? You could say, okay, this is the tavern scene. Tavern. And you put artwork up there for a tavern. Maybe you'd have like a fireplace or something. And essentially what you do is you populate these with music, and then you just click play, and it'll switch between these scenes. So when your players walk out or walk into a tavern, you can tap the play on the tavern, and the tavern music will start playing. When they leave, you can tap on the town music, and it'll start playing the music for the town that you've set up. And you can base it on like chapters throughout your game sessions, or you can base it on like locations or even encounters. Like maybe we create one for anytime there's a battle happening, you create a scene for a battle type, and then you can have multiple ones for that. I'm going to be the main reason why I'm making this app was mostly for me, so that when I do my game sessions, I've got I've got this great tool to use. So once all that's done, you can go edit it. Let's go with this one. This has got the image set. This is off. You can hit the smoke, and we'll start seeing smoke appear. You can see that it kind of covers that view. It looks kind of cool. So we got snow. I think for smoke, we might even have a fire one, which have like a glow, like a flickering glow. It'd be kind of cool. So let's say like you're in a town that's burning down or something, or you're in a burning building. You want to hit that scene. You want the display on the screen to go straight to like an animated version of something on fire. Like that'd be kind of cool. And then we've got fog, and we've got rain, right? Now we can add music. Would like to access the Apple Music. Yeah, okay, we go, okay. Now this is what I was talking about before, where you hit this little random button and it will do a search, tabletop RPG music. So that's the search term I've put in to help people. You got this privacy acknowledgement. This is simulator issues. And I need to do some error handling around like connecting the Apple Music account and getting user IDs and things like that, right? So anyway, so we've got this. Let's see if can we play it. Or is this privacy acknowledge required thing going to stop us from doing that? It seems like it. Yeah, it doesn't work. That's okay. And then we can just hit, randomize again. It does the search pretty quick. Randomize again. But yeah, up here, playlists. So this will pull any playlists you have created with Apple Music. So on the Music app on your device, which is super cool. Because if you've already got a playlist that has your game music in that, you can just import it immediately. You don't have to go through and tap on each song and be like, oh, we have to do this again and add all these to this new app that I'm using. And it does not sync with Apple Music playlists, but that would be a cool feature to have. So every time you open the app, it'll be like, hey, has this playlist updated? Have they added removed tracks? I'm going to add that as a feature. So sync playlists with Apple Music. Cool. That makes sense, right? So like if I wasn't talking to the microphone, if they go open up their Apple Music app and they make changes to it, it should make updates in this app. That'd be really cool, because otherwise they'd have to remove it and then re-add it, and that's just a pain. Yeah, so that means in my data model, I'll have to. The app will need to keep track of. Well, that's going to be a pain, because. So each scene can be based on a playlist, and then you can add more songs to it after. We would need to keep track of which ones were in the playlist, which ones were added. This is something for future Vo to work out later. Anyway, so yeah, you can hit the refresh of this a couple of times. So we've got Tavern Fantasy Music. What else have I got? RPG, D&D. This one is another one that has some good playlists. This Midnight Syndicate thing. That I've also put names of composers in the list. This one I might have to remove because it looks like it's not coming back with like D&D style music, so that's okay. So we got some Warcraft music and stuff like that in there. And then it's just randomized. You can type anything else you want in there. But to add them, you hit this little plus, and we get the little tick. So let's add a bunch. Let's close this down, and you've got your list here, right? And then if we minimize that as well, now this play button is active, and we hit play, and it will start playing if there is an Apple account connected. Do I need to move my head? Yeah. Was it covered? Might be covered by the logo. Okay. And yeah, and so that's how that works. So let's go with the sound effects. So now here is the sound effects panel. You can add global sound effects, and you can add scene sound effects. So this is something I thought about like really hard for a while. So I wanted it so that there were sound effects that were always visible no matter which scene you're playing, right? So they might be I don't know, like doors opening and closing. Maybe you want to be able to reuse that sound across different scenes. A bit silly. But then again, you don't want to fill your sound effects board, your soundboard, with just stuff that's going to be used across all scenes anyway. Like you want to keep like a short list of 5 that are global, and then fill out the scenes with all different ones, because like there might be a sound effect you only use when there's a fireplace or something, and that's not going to be in every single scene. So if we go edit, we can add. Yeah, so this is the thing I need to fix today. Well, I need to hook up that continue button so that we can actually add these sound effects. Okay, so this is the sound. This is the store screen at the moment that I have created in SwiftUI, and it's okay. So we've got, I think, all these restore purchases, manage subscriptions, and privacy policy. I think they're all hooked up correctly. And this is kind of what I'm going with. All right, you might not be able to read the text or anything like that on the stream, but that it's not important. This is kind of the layout. You select the first one or the second one. I've got it set up so it's like $10 for 3 months, which is like, yeah, $3.30 per month. If you're a dungeon master who runs a campaign once a week, I think this app will be worth that once it's finished. And then you get like a significant discount if you do it for 12 months. But the idea is that you want to hit continue. I have hooked it up. Interesting. I don't remember doing that. So I'm going to have to sign in with a demo account, which I don't think is set up on this iPad. So in order to do that, I'll probably need to switch back to Xcode and then do that in the background so I don't give away passwords and stuff, because I think it doesn't really show up there. I'm not going to risk it though. And I need to be trying to remember what the credentials were for the account that I've set up for this, because you have to use I don't think you can use an actual live iCloud account when you're doing development. You have to use like a sandbox account, and you have to set that up separately in App Store Connect, which I think I've done. I just need to make sure that I remember the credentials for that. So I'll log into this. Let's see if this works. All right, so let's just switch back to Xcode, and then we can see the beautiful rain that I've created. And what I want to do is I'm just going to hit home on the iPad screen, go into settings and see if I do have an account logged in. Sign into your iPad. No, I do not. Okay, so this means I'm going to have to open up a web browser and go and see in App Store Connect. what the account was because I can't remember. Definitely make sure I'm not streaming this. All right, and it wants me to two-factor. Sorry that this, I mean, there's nothing for you to see right now, so that's kind of annoying, but that's the nature of making these streaming videos. And this is kind of the exact process that I would go through if I was just developing this without anybody watching. So let's have a look at users and the access. Where is the... Sandbox testers, there we go. It's a completely different tab. Yeah, Apple like to change things around quite a bit. Okay, so I'll just log in. See if this works. And the great thing about using the sandbox testers is that you can set this. So the subscription in my app has like 12 months or 3 months, but with a sandbox tester, you can say, I only want it to last like 5 minutes, right? And then you'll be kicked out of the subscription in the app, which is great for testing. Right, so we've got, let's say, I'll force a renewal every, I don't know, every hour. So I don't want to be interrupted, right? Yeah, cool. I just need to try and remember what the dang password was. It doesn't let me see what it is. Maybe I need to create a new one. Let's have a look and see if I've left it in the keychain. I haven't got the YouTube thing open yet, so if anyone's like typing stuff to me, I just have to wait a moment. Here we go, I do have it in here. And I'll just grab that. Now, what I'm doing right now is, let me switch back to the sim. So I'm setting this up in the settings app first on the iPad, and I'll see if this follows. Oh, come on. Oh, I've done it wrong. Summoning. Is that correct? Summoning stone. Yes. Password. Are we signing in? Excellent. And I'll see if this, let's merge. I'll see if this translates to the app. So if I go to the home and we go summoning, cancel. Or the other thing too I want to mention real quick is there's a funny thing here where you want to be able to let people preview these sound effects, right? But before they get to the, because you go hit this and it's like, oh, you have to like pay a subscription. It's like, why would I do that when I can just leave this screen open and tap on buttons, right? I did have a solution for that. I think I can't remember if I decided to just like, it doesn't matter, because people will support me if they want, because I'll let, on the subscription screen, I'm gonna be like, oh look, I am an indie dev, not some big company trying to take your information and your money and stuff. Like, if you want to support me, you can do that with a subscription. If you don't, and you want to use the sound effects for free, go ahead. I think another idea I had was like, there was a time limit, right? Like you could test 5 of them or something, and then you'd have to wait 20 minutes or something like that between doing it. But that would get annoying, right? Because at the start of the stream, I said, I don't want to force people to pay the subscription. I want to let them use the entire app for the whatever lifetime that they're going to be using it for, and still get some value out of it, right? maybe putting a time limit on it's probably not a great idea to make that happen. Maybe I have. The other thing is also don't want to like only allow them to pick 5 out of 100 and that's it, or only preview that many. So I'm just going to leave it as is for now, and we'll see how it goes. If it turns out that people are taking advantage of it, and I'll know that because I've got analytics, I'll try and come up with a better idea, a better solution for this. But at the moment, yeah, you can open up this screen and just tap on any of them. The annoying thing is you can't curate them, right? There's going to be heaps in here, and you're not going to be able to curate them. And so as a dungeon master, you'll be sitting here going like scrolling through, okay, so where's the sound for like, you know, all the fireballs? Like, oh, there it is. Fireball. Yes, you cast the fireball. And then it's like, okay, now the next person's turn. So we're gonna, ice bolt. Yes, it'll be better. They'll get annoyed at that very quickly, I'm hoping. And then they'll pay the subscription to curate their list and just have the fireball and the fire and the ice bolt right next to each other. That's the idea, right? So anyway, so let's try and get this to work. I don't know if it will. So continue the Apple ID. So if I put in, oh come on. Oh, that's a weird spot to put. Okay, so there's the paste, and then it's tester. This is not a real email, by the way. Oh no, it is. It is. Yeah, that is. Yeah, I have a website for this, somethingstone.app, but it is like not complete. Do not go there. It's just a landing page with like placeholder stuff. So I hit OK. Now, purchase was cancelled. Okay, so here's the thing. I can't show you this. So I've got a readout here. This is all from RevenuCat, right? So we got this vending customer info from cache. We've got error. Purchase was cancelled. Purchase was not cancelled. Let's try again. It's making me sign in every single time. Error enumerating unfinished transactions. No active account. Okay, so it's asking me to sign in. I just signed in. This should be pulling it from the settings app on the sim. So I might have to actually do this on a device, and I don't know how I'm going to share that. Now, be aware that like I've only done in-app purchases like 3 times in my life, so I could be doing this completely wrong anyway. Application to become active. Purchase was cancelled. So we're having problems here. It's possible like I might have the wrong API key to make this work. Yeah, just try it one more time. If it didn't work the first 2 times, it's definitely going to work now, I'm sure. That's how development works, right? Application did become... Oh, here we go. Purchase did not return a transaction. Unhandled exception. Unknown error occurred. That's always great when it's like an unknown error. No auth plugin to verify credentials for account of type sandbox. Auth plugin to verify credentials for accounts of type. Oh, okay. So this might be something I need to do on RevenuCat. I might need to set up a sandbox thing. So I'm just in a browser at the moment. I'm not gonna. I guess I could bring it over in front of. There you go. See, this is what I'm looking at. So I need to look at. This should be pretty safe for me to stream. I don't think I have anything bad open in my tabs or anything like that. Not that I would. I'm just, you know, some porn or something. Let's go with configuring the SDK. We need to making purchases. That's where are we? Not Jetpack. Restoring purchases. So yeah, restoring purchases. This is where I left off last time because I needed to make that restore purchases button work. We've got sandbox testing, right? So here we go. We got create a sandbox test account, which is exactly what I've done. Valid email. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, so it was a valid email. I did check it. So we got testing on device. What do we got? This section is for testing on physical device. If you want to test on similar, skip to the next section for instructions on how to get started with StoreKit testing. Okay, let's do that. Okay, starting from iOS 14, you can test sandbox purchases in the simulator. If you're using a physical device, you can skip this section. So I'm guessing on the sim it's going to be slightly different, right? Oh, okay. Configuration file. I don't think I have that in there. Okay, so StoreKit testing requires running app from Xcode. So you can't just run it on the sim without Xcode connected. StoreKit testing only works if you're running your app directly through Xcode. Any command line tool that uses the Xcode build command to start running an app, like Flutter or Flutter's VS Code plugin, won't use the StoreKit configuration file specified in your scheme. This is a known issue, and we have filed feedback to Apple. Okay. Add a StoreKit configuration file. So we need to go file, new file. Okay, so I need to move this out of the way so I can get access to Xcode again. So let's go with that. We have to... Okay, let me just open up the sim. I just want to do this because I want to make sure I'm not like giving away client information when I start adding files to Xcode. Like it will pop up in like Finder and stuff. I don't want to, just in case. So what we're doing is, because this is my work computer, right? Like I don't have a streaming setup dedicated to, not yet anyway. All right, so what do we got? We got an entitlements file. Okay, new file, StoreKit configuration. StoreKit configuration file. Next. Save the file in the top level folder of your project and add it to your targets. Yeah, so sync this file with an app in App Store Connect. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, it already knows. It pre-fills everything. Yes, it is showing my Finder. So hang on, let me just target Summoning Stone. So basically, it was just like this little wizard that popped up, and we can see it here. Let's just go back, and it just pre-filled all the information. You can link it to an app that's already on App Store Connect, and it did that automatically. And then it just said, where do you want to save it to? And I just picked the root directory of this repository for this app, right? And in that folder, I had a whole bunch of other client projects and stuff there. I just, that's why I kept out of it. So we've got, yeah, this brings back some memories here. Yeah, this is correct. So I think what I need to do now is rerun the app. We can open up in the sim. I feel like okay, so this guide goes on further and saying you need to do something with a new scheme. Create new schemes for StoreKit testing. Click the scheme in the scheme menu, scheme settings. Select your current scheme and click duplicate. So I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Select your current scheme and click duplicate. Why are we doing this? Why do we want to do this? Oh, okay. So there's a configuration file you can set up. So we need to do that before we run it. Okay, so click the editor. In the editor, click the plus button at the bottom and create a new product. In this tutorial, an auto renewable subscription will be created. Products in the configuration file must be set up in RevenuCat. Even though products don't have to be set up in App Store Connect, they can be set up in RevenuCat so that RevenuCat can validate sandbox receipt. Oh, this is complex, isn't it? It seems like running on the device is going to be much simpler. Enter a name for news. I just don't want to set up a sandbox tester on my own phone. And enter a name for a new subscription group and click done. Okay, so what I'll do is move this off to the side. I'll follow these instructions, right? I don't like creating new schemes though. I'll see if I can get away with just doing the one I've got, right? So if I just edit this one and yes, click select, what have we got? Run, we've got options we need to set, and we've got StoreKit configuration. So, oh, what are these? I think these are bundled into the RevenuCat package. Yeah. Let's go with that. This is interesting. It looks like from this here, you can actually add a configuration of the project from this screen too, which is kind of cool. And then we've got setting up the StoreKit configuration file. In the editor, click the plus button at the bottom and create a new product. I don't think I need to do this because these are the products here, right? Like this is already, and this is synced with, yeah, okay, this is cool. So what RevenuCat is saying is that you need to create some of these that match the ones on the RevenuCat backend on the website. Because when you set these up in App Store Connect, you have to then go to RevenuCat and then like link them together. It does have access to Apple's API to grab the products, the subscriptions and stuff, but in RevenuCat you need to sort of link them together to their version of what a product is, and because the reason for that, why they don't do a direct one-to-one, is because of the extra customizability and stuff that you get with RevenuCat, from what I can tell. So this should already be set up now. Now we've got configure the subscription as needed by filling in the reference name, product ID. Yeah. So this should be okay. And I can't really touch this anyway because I've opted to have it synced. You should be able to see, yeah, you can see where my cursor is in the Xcode window. I've got it set up so that, you know, this, it's all synced up. So we should be able to just run. Let's try it. Try it again. I'm probably gonna have to, oh, come on, please work. Oh, excellent. So I didn't even need to sign in that time. I guess it pops up the sign in if you're not logged into iCloud on the device. Or it's like some sort of fallback when it's like, oh, we can't get authorization or whatever. How cool is this? So yeah, details. For testing purposes only, you will not be charged for confirming this purchase. And this is Apple's UI, right? This is, and it's a little Xcode at the top there. That's so cool. Okay, let's hit subscribe. That was instant. Obviously, it doesn't need to verify. Your purchase was successful, and that's the environment. This is produced by RevenuCat, I think. Could be wrong. Doesn't matter. Okay, so we're in. The screen doesn't dismiss, but it should, right? Oh, we haven't got. There is something broken here because I should be subscribed right now. You are currently subscribed to this. Restore purchases. The receipt is not valid. All right, let me go back to Xcode and I'll show you what's going on. If anyone knows what I'm doing wrong here, yeah, definitely shout out. So we've got, so if I hit restore purchases, this is what happens in the response there. So we've got, so these are I've got quarterly full unlock. That's the one I subscribe to. So what we're doing is we're grabbing the purchase that I'm trying to restore. Like that's the one that I've subscribed to. There are no requests currently running. Starting request post receipts. API request started. Cool. API request completed. Cool. The receipt is not valid. This looks like something I'll need to search up on their website, right? The receipt is not valid. Because what should be happening is once the request is successful, this screen should dismiss. And then when I hit this plus button, I should not be getting this anymore. So what do we do? We go back to the website, I guess. Okay. Oh man. All right, let's have a look here. Error handling. Where we got debugging and error handling. Let's take a look. Open that. Troubleshooting the SDKs. In a sec. Just got some messages. Got a reply. It's my wife. I got a reply. Okay. Oh, come on, buddy boy. I've still got, you can't see, but I've still got a dog on my lap. Don't scratch the mic. He's getting very fidgety, and it's very warm here. Today we had a 35 degrees Celsius day, so it's been super warm. We've had the air conditioner running, and he just gets, I don't know, he's a very needy puppy. You alright, buddy? Yeah, okay. Okay. iOS, we've got language version. Great. CocoaPods, no. Don't use that anymore. That's my advice. Common issues. Products empty. Active entitlements. I get there was a problem with App Store. My app crashes with. Module purchase. None of that error. The receipt is not valid. Okay, so if I Google that. And so all I did was Google the error, the receipt is not valid, space RevenuCat, and Stack Overflow. This is the first one, and the first result. Sorry, I have been trying to so anytime you go Stack Overflow, it's like scroll. Usually the receipt is not valid. Error indicates an error with some iOS Xcode configuration. I would confirm you followed the StoreKit task. I didn't, did I? I didn't quite follow it. You're using the latest RevenuCat purchases SDK? Yeah, I think so. You re-upload the StoreKit certificate after making. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, hang on a sec. So this means, let's go back. We got it stopped right on. I stopped on step 4, and I just left. I was like, yeah, the app's running now. I didn't have to put in my password, email address anymore. It must be working. Uploading we have to upload that certificate to RevenuCat, and I'm assuming every single time I change the subscription pricing or something, I'm gonna have to do the exact same thing. And I think this is the certificate pinning feature. I think this helps with that, so to stop hackers from getting free in-app purchase and stuff. Okay, so it says, what do we got? Okay, so we need to have this open, and then we go editor, and then we go save public certificate. All right, I'm going back to the sim, make sure it doesn't it's going to pop open Finder. No, it did not. That's okay. And I'm going to save this to my desktop. There we go. I don't know if there's any unique codes or anything in there. I don't know how that. Let's just click off that. Oh, you can't see it. So let me just have a quick look. Yeah, there is a SHA-256 public. It's a public key though, so it shouldn't matter. But you can't see it anyway. So what I'm going to do now is upload this. So what do we got? Oh, it's a screen. Sure, right? That's not. I thought that was going to be. They would just click and drag straight into there. Okay. Yeah, excellent. So what I need to do is go to project settings, apps, your app. So let's have a look. Let me just quickly check to make sure I haven't got any other messages from people watching. The one or two people watching. No. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so we go project settings, apps, your app. All right, now I don't know if there's any other IDs and stuff I need to hide, so I'm not even logged in anyway, so let me just get that sorted. I love that Safari's got the two-factor code stuff built in. It's so silly that it's taken so long to make that work, but it's amazing now. Projects. Then we've got, yep. This should be okay. It looks like they do a good job of hiding the secrets and stuff. So this is what we've got at the moment. So this is my, well, I guess my project, Summoning Stone. And we've got the secret key and stuff. That's in the app. I did share this accidentally when I thought I was streaming and talking for an hour, which I wasn't. And it's a good thing that didn't end up. So that was kind of a blessing in a way. So we've got Apple server notification URL, great. We've got where we go, StoreKit testing framework. This is where we drop the certificate. So let's just go with that. Certificate was successfully uploaded and saved. So is that all I need to do? I've navigated away from the, yeah, that's unfortunate. I've navigated away from the help file, but let's go back to the sim. I would assume that because I uploaded it to some backend, I don't need to worry about rebuilding the app. So let's try subscribing again and see what happens. You're currently subscribed. Okay, that's great. If we go back to Xcode, some new stuff happened here. Let me get rid of this so we can try and go on a single. Yeah, that's much better, much clearer. So we got finishing transaction 0 for product quarterly full unlock. So what happens, I think what it does in the background is if you try and make a purchase and you've already done it, it'll probably run the restore purchases. Yeah, there we go. So I just hit restore purchases in the app and we get, we don't get that error anymore. And it's, yeah. So what I was saying before was that in some apps, if you don't hit restore purchases and you just go and try and do a subscription, if you've like setting up a new device or you delete the app and it doesn't know that you're subscribed, generally it'll just run the same restore purchases code and like be like, hey, you're already subscribed or whatever, and then dismiss the screen anyway, which is a nice sort of feature where you don't have to, like, it doesn't force you to click restore purchases. Instead, it does it all in one go. Okay, so if we open up the sim again, so we're back here. Now what we got is our sound effects panel. We click the plus and we have an option to add to global, which is perfect, exactly what we want, right? There is another one here that says add to scene or add to encounter. I think it's add to scene, but that's not there because we haven't got a scene selected, right? How is this view going to know what to add it to if you haven't got a scene selected? So, and to avoid confusion, what I've done is this panel over here, like if you're seeing this view, this hitting edit up here only lets you do global sounds, right? So let's just add one, right? Let's stop wasting time. And you see the little icon there changes too. We've got like a world, right? I'm still not completely happy with the way this UI works because it's got like this little button in the corner, but I couldn't think of a better way of making this happen without introducing some other UX quirks, like maybe long tapping on it opens up the context menu. Because what I wanted to do was leave the tile with as much space as possible so you can actually tap on it, right? And I want to reuse these in this view so that Oh, there's thunder. So that you can remove them when you need to. That was the idea, but now I've changed it to those buttons aren't there anymore, and you have to go edit, and you go up here and you go, okay, let's remove from global. Right. So this is the sound effects search and stuff is your edit screen. Right. You can add, dismiss, and they're here, and they don't have those buttons in the corner. Like it looks like a nice, neat soundboard, and then you tap on these. If you can hear it. Yeah. And then the plan now is so that when you go edit, there will be a button here to add sound effects. I'm not sure if I'm completely satisfied with that though, because I did originally have it so that you go, if a scene was selected, like if one was, you hit play and you edit. Oh, well, it's still there anyway. Okay, yeah, duh. All right, so see that how we got add to scene. So if the scene is playing, what I would probably need to do is, like, at the moment, if you tap anywhere in here, nothing kind of happens. So it might be nice if you tap on this and it doesn't play, but it like selects it. So you're like, okay, and it really highlights it, because this play button doesn't really give you that much feedback in what's happening, like which one's playing, which ones you got selected. And you might want to edit sound effects while another scene is playing. Like if this is playing, I want to tap on this, highlight it. Oh, you can't see where I'm clicking. I want to tap on this one. So it's highlighted while this one's playing, and because it's highlighted, then I can go edit, add to scene. And you see now we've got two buttons there. So that gives us an indicator that it's on the global list and it's on that scene. And if we minimize this, you can see that I have color coded the background and I've given it a title. So we can say, welcome to Baroque. That's in this scene, right? So what I can do is, let's just add in a few more. Because this only activates this side, the scene only activates when a scene is playing, and I've only got the one scene. Let's just quickly add some other music. Just cool. So to the Tabin one, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to hit play and I want to show you what happens. See how that disappears, and we haven't got any sound effects related to that scene now. So in a tavern, you might want, like, I don't know, let's put a chest sound in the scene only. Maybe the door sounds like a gate, right? I'll add proper door sounds later. Maybe there's a button or something, like a secret button in the tavern. Close that. The wilderness will not have buttons, right? It might have a gate, but it will not have buttons. So there's no point having that sound in the wilderness. So that's why we got this. And then we play the music. You can't hear the music because it's the simulator and won't play music from Apple Music or whatever. So yeah, see, if we jump back over to Xcode real quick, just as proof, you can see this line, MP Music Player Controller is not available on the simulator. Okay, so if you're wondering why no music's playing when I hit play, that is why. Let's go back. So yeah, that's sort of the idea. The styling might change. I think, yeah, so we got a dark mode. I should have probably been using that from the very beginning to show this off, because I mean, I've been blinding people. Okay. But yeah, the icons kind of like fit with both, right? And you can kind of see the purpley background there. It sort of works. And you can switch between scenes. The players are inside the tavern and they go outside and it changes. And then they've got, I know, from the bushes, you know, a goblin fires an arrow at you. Whatever it may be. And like, I think that's pretty cool. I think I'm really happy with where this is at the moment. I very much like the direction it's going in. Very happy with it. I might change the width of these two views, right? So maybe I'll make this this side thinner so that we have more room for sound effects, because there is on these rows there's a lot of empty space there, right? I may have to, if the thunder starts getting a little bit too loud, I may have to jump off stream. We'll see. But it's such a relief. It was so hot today. I'm so glad it's storming. And I can hear rain. Summer storms are the best, right? Like, it's like a relief. And you know that weird feeling when it's about to hail too? It's like there's like a front of coldness that comes with it. So like you've had a really hot day and then suddenly it's like freezing air just washes over, and it's like, so it feels good. It's like walking into an air-conditioned shopping center. But that's pretty much the extent of this. That's the entire app for now. What I will do is on this page, on this side of I'm going to put some buttons at the top, which will, no, it won't be. It will be in this screen. Yeah, so on here at the top, next to these, I am going to be putting another button to add ambience, right? So ambient sounds will be part of a scene as well. I think that makes sense. When you're changing locations, you probably wouldn't have like crickets across Tavern and then the welcome to Barovia scene, right? You would have the ambience change between them. And so that's why we'll pop this open. You'll be able to tag one up here, much like they'll be supported in the model pretty much the same way as sound effects are, except these things will loop and they'll be much longer. They'll be MP3s and not, I think I'm using OGG file. I might be using MP3s now for the sound effects too. Apparently you should be using like the higher quality, you should be using lossless audio for shorter sound files. That's the theory. That's where the theory goes, so that they can be loaded in quickly. And the reason why they'll be loaded in quickly is because the CPU doesn't need to do like decompression or anything like that. It is as is. And that's why like a lot of apps will use PNGs for icons and not JPEGs and stuff for thumbnails and that, because the PNGs, while larger, will load faster. But if you have a lot in a table or something, they will just take up so much, a lot of RAM. But there's no like a whole lot of decompression and stuff going on. I think that's the theory behind it. And it's the same for like audio as well. But I've just made them all MP3s. I haven't had any performance issues with it. I think if you were doing like a DAW, like digital audio workstation or something, you would have the raw data format you'd be working with, right? To keep the speed up. But anyway, that was just a side note. So I think now is the time, after introducing all this, I could probably like stop the stream or put a cut here and then restart to continue on with the no, I'll keep going. Yeah, I'll put a break now so that YouTube will create a video, and then I'll start again for a separate video. Yeah, because that's where we're going to actually start coding. So this is all part one, and then we'll have a part two, where I actually get into writing some code. And the first thing I'm going to do is clean up this store screen, because I've got a couple of like classes and structs and stuff in the one large file. I want to split them out, so we'll go with that. So what I'm going to do is now I'm just going to quickly end this and then restart again.